Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. Let's begin. We have 4 committee members to present today, so we have met quorum. Secretary Treasurer, do we have any updates?
Yes, the report for the voucher application, which is consent application, C07-2025.
Somebody actually.
So it was shared to the committee members about a week ago. But then in light of, comments received from the Minister of Transportation, municipal staff have, we've had to update the recommendation to the committee. So that will be outlined during my presentation.
Sorry, I didn't hear, but
Oh, okay. The planning application report for consent application C07-2025 was sent to the committee members about a week ago. But then just today we received correspondence from MTO, and based on their comments, we've had to update our recommendation that was included in the report. So I will provide the updated recommendation during my presentation.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion on the floor to declare today's meeting for the municipality of Sioux Committee of Adjustment Consent Granting Authority open and call to order. I need that motion to be moved by one of the committee members. Councillor Lego, and seconded by Mario Rossetti. Thank you. The Committee of Adjustment meeting of August 22nd, 2025 be declared open and called to order at 5:03 p.m. All those in favor? Okay, and it's been carried. There is a motion on the floor to excuse Councillor Joan Costco from today's meeting. Is there a mover? Roger? Okay, and a seconder. Councillor Lego? The motion on the floor is that Councillor Joan Costco be excused from August 26th meeting. All those in favor? And it's carried. An agenda for the Committee of Adjustment, Consent Granting Authority meeting of August 22nd, 2025 has been provided to us. Are there any issues or concerns with the agenda? Are there any issues or concerns with the agenda before we put a motion on the floor to accept this agenda as submitted? Okay, no comment. So I've asked for a mover, Councillor Lego, and a seconder. Roger, thank you. The motion on the floor is that the Sioux Committee of Adjustment approve the August 22nd, 2025 agenda as submitted or amended. And all in favor? Carried. We have a disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Secretary Treasurer, is there any pecuniary interest to refer here?
That's not.
Okay, thank you. Before us, we have previous minutes from our last meeting on June the 2nd, 2025. Everyone has had a chance to look at these minutes. Are there any concerns, corrections, or discussion required? No comments or changes? Okay. May I have a mover? Mario, and a seconder? Roger, thank you. I will now place the motion on the table that the minutes of the Committee of Adjustment of June 2nd, 2025 be adopted as presented. Can I get a mover? Councilor Lego and a second. Roger. Thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. Secretary Treasurer, is there any business from previous minutes to be addressed?
No, there's none.
Okay, thank you. Secretary Treasurer, are there any delegations? Thank you. As the chair, I would like to announce that this is a public meeting to hear comments on consent applications. The committee will hear comments and evaluate written submissions on consent applications. The committee makes the final decision. There is a 20-day appeal period from the date of the giving of the notice of decision. The applicant, minister, or a specified person or public body may appeal the decision and/or any condition imposed by filing a notice of appeal accompanied by the required fee from the municipal clerk. The appeal would be forwarded to the Ontario Land Tribunal. The first application we have before us is a consent application. Received consent application number C07-2025, received from Sean Bauer on behalf of 1000209267 Ontario Inc. for the subject lands legally described as Sioux PT GTP Block 10 RP 23R 15034 Part 1 to create one severed lot and one retained lot for a total of 2 lots and create and register a utility easement over the southwest portion of the subject lands. Secretary Treasurer, could you please present the application to the committee?
An application for consent has been submitted by Sean Bauer on behalf of 1000209267 Ontario Inc. to create one severed and one retained lot for a total of 2 lots on the subject lands. The subject lands are legally described as Sioux PT GTP PLP 10 RP 23 15034 Part 1 and are municipally known as Big Wood North. The subject lands have a lot area of approximately 14.4 hectares and a lot frontage of 700 meters on Highway 516. Included in the consent application is the creation of a 10-meter wide utility easement to facilitate the installation of hydro poles and power lines over the southwest portion of the subject lands. The subject lands were purchased from the municipality of Sioux with a condition that the lands be developed within 2 years. Specifically, the owner is required to develop the lands through a plan of subdivision. As well, the owner is required to construct a warehouse and a modular office within 2 years. The purpose of the consent application is to create a separate lot for the proposed warehouse and an office to fulfill one of the conditions of sale. The owner would otherwise not be able to develop the site until a subdivision agreement is entered into with the municipality. A subdivision application process is a more lengthy planning process. The application, including a site sketch, was received on July 17, 2025. The applicant updated the application and site sketch on August 13, 2025. The proposed severed lot has a lot area of 29,600 square meters and a lot frontage of 215 meters on Highway 516. While the proposed retained lot has a lot area of 114,400 square meters and a lot frontage of 485 meters on Highway 516. The subject lands are located in the urban Sioux settlement area and designated Sioux Municipal Airport in the official plan. The subject area is located in the Airport Industrial Reception 1 zone. All planning decisions must be consistent with the provincial planning statement, conform to the official plan, and be consistent with the general intent of the zoning plan. The provincial planning statement is a policy document that guides development in the province of Ontario. The provincial planning statement directs development to settlement areas in the form of intensification to support the achievement of complete communities. The proposed consent will result in the development of a vacant lot in the urban Sioux settlement area. The provincial planning statement requires planning for land use in the vicinity of airports to be undertaken such that the long-term operation and economic growth of the airport is protected. And also that land uses which may cause potential aviation hazard and other incompatible land uses should be prohibited. The proposed consent and future development is similar to surrounding light industrial uses and not anticipated to create an aviation hazard. The airport manager was separated on the application and he indicated that he has no concerns with the proposal. The proposed consent is consistent with the provincial planning statement. The subject lands are located in the urban Sioux settlement area and designated as Sioux Municipal Airport in the official plan. A wide range of uses shall be permitted in the urban Sioux settlement area, subject to the policies of a specific land use designation. The Sioux Municipal Airport designation permits commercial and office uses. The proposed consent will facilitate a new lot to be used for a warehouse and an accessory use on a vacant lot in urban Sioux settlement area. The official plan directs that land uses in the vicinity of the airport shall be undertaken so that airport and sensitive land uses are appropriately designed and separated from each other to prevent adverse effects. The warehouse on the proposed lot is adequately set back and buffered from the municipal airport site by existing habitation. This is located on the opposite side of the highway. The official plan includes policies on development along provincial highway in the municipality. All new accesses onto the provincial highways will require approval from MTO. The site is accessed off Highway 516 through a temporary entrance granted by MTOs, which is set to expire in October 2026. MTO submitted correspondence indicating that they will not permit an access from the proposed separate lot, nor the proposed retained parcel beyond the existing temporary entrance permit. The official plan contains policies on land division and consent application. The proposal conforms to all provisions under the land division and consent policies in the official plan. The proposal will conform to all policies in the official plan, but for MTO's concerns. The subject lands are located in the airport industrial exception 1 zone. The proposed separate and retained lot meets the minimum lot area as well as minimum lot frontage requirements for the airport industrial exception 1 zone. The proposed warehouse and office is considered a light industrial use and is permitted in the airport industrial exception 1 zone. So as I mentioned earlier in our initial reports to committee members, municipal staff had recommended an approval, but then based on the comments received from MTO, staff is updating the recommendation to recommend that the committee defer making a decision on the application today until all parties involved in the application address the concerns raised by MTO.
Secretary Treasurer, were there any comments received for this application?
Yes, so we received a letter from MTO today and I will read it. So the consent application proposes to create a new 1.6 hectare separate parcel from the southwest corner of the subject property with 125 meters of frontage on Highway 516. The 12.7 hectare retained parcel will have 575 meters of frontage on Highway 516. The retained is vacant lot with little or no improvements on it. Additionally, the consent proposes a 10-meter wide 0.15 hectare easement along the west portion of the property south limits. The easement will be for an utility corridor. The subject property is being allowed access to Highway 516 under the Ministry of Transportation's temporary entrance permit number EN 2024-61 ZK 0000067. The temporary entrance permit will expire on October 7, 2026, at which time the entrance is to be closed or removed. The temporary entrance permit was issued to allow limited improvements works to the property to be undertaken. The entrance is located at the point along Highway 516 that will be within the highway frontage of the proposed separate parcel. From the authority given under the Public Transportation and Highway Improvements Act, entrance permits are required for any access to a provincial highway. Any change of property ownership, property description, entrance or land use, or of entrance construction requires a new entrance permit. Entrance permits do not run with the land. Entrance permits must be obtained prior to the construction of new entrance or for a change of use for an existing entrance. The proponent of this consent application has communicated to the ministry in past discussions of plans for other development of the subject lands. The ministry advised the proponents that a comprehensive development plan and traffic impact study would be required to ensure the highway access from the subject lands is both safe and complies with highway access policy. The ministry issued a temporary entrance permit to allow the proponent to do some preparation for future development, but until the ministry can review a traffic impact study based on the type of traffic activity expected by a defined development, the ministry cannot commit to extending or renewing the current temporary permit. Since the ministry cannot commit to highway access from the proposed segment parcel and nor for the proposed retained parcel without additional information, the proposed severance is premature. At this time, the ministry will not permit an access from the proposed severed parcel nor the proposed retained parcel beyond the existing temporary entrance permit. The ministry would like the municipality of Sioux to extend the proponents the ministry's willingness to work with them in providing highway access while they are producing the necessary documentation the ministry requires for the development. The Public Transportation and Highway Improvement Act requires MTO building and land use permits be obtained for any development or construction occurring within 45 meters of the property limit of a provincial highway and within 180 meters of the center point of the intersection between a provincial highway and a public side road. The permit requirement is for construction or installation of any structures above or below the ground, grading of land or drainage alteration, installation of entrances on side road, etc. The survey parcel will be within MTO's permit control.
Do any of the committee members have site inspection reports they wish to present? Okay, is there a presentation from the applicant or their agent?
I don't have a presentation prepared. I'd like to make some comments on it.
Okay,
Do I get up or just?
well, you can sit in the chair.
Let's share out here, yeah. So just a few comments on progress and stuff there. We obtained all the permits from MTO that they've requested for all the work that's been done on the property there. As far as the permit control zone, that extends 45 meters from the edge of the MTO boundary. So it is true that the MTO permit control zone is on a portion of the severed property, but not the entire severed property. Secondly, we would endeavor to continue to work with the MTO to find a suitable way to continue our development and meet the timelines for this. A 2-month response time is not ideal. We'd like to work with the municipality and the MTO to find a suitable solution to this. Then we would just ask that the MTO agree to some timelines for correspondence and coming up with some solutions that don't drag on for months and years. We do have some timelines that have been put on us by the municipality as part of the purchase agreement on the property, and given the light that we're not going to be granted a permanent access, I don't know how to navigate that. And yeah, no, we're just interested in looking to work with everyone, all the stakeholders involved to move this forward in a timely fashion.
Councillor Legal.
Can the municipality extend the time frame for the applicant?
That's something that the manager of development services will have to discuss with senior management.
Okay, and is that brought to here or is that brought to council if the time frame has changed?
I'm not really sure, but I believe that's something that would also have to come to council since the initial purchase was done through council. So yes.
The only other thing I would like to comment on is the need for traffic to impact assessment or study. Given the nature of our business, we have maybe 4 vehicles. The number of movements per day are seemingly trivial. We're not really able to meaningfully engage an engineering firm to do an impact study on such a small project. It doesn't seem practical or feasible for it. We're quite happy to work with the MTO and give them a statement on what we expect for our immediate operation. This development, this severance is not intended to service a greater subdivision. We do intend to work with the municipality and the MTO and all the stakeholders, the airports and the neighboring development team to come up with a suitable subdivision plan. But that's a little bit beyond where this immediate application is.
Mario?
Is there a way we can go around MTO, i.e., if you were to pull your entrance permit, you would need a traffic study. You could enter your property from the subdivision road.
Our objective is to work with everybody to get this done. We've had communication with the airport manager, although it doesn't immediately affect us being on the other side of the highway corridor. The development team to the south of us, we've had conversations with them about how the greater subdivision plan may look, how the roads may connect, and how a future municipal collector road may look. But we're not in a position right now to build that road or have a final design or concept for that road. Nor do we have a proper estimate of the volume of traffic for such a development to do a proper traffic impact study.
Councilor Levy? Oh,
Yeah,
Maybe I'm missing something here, but the purpose of this meeting is to deal with
Severance.
the severance.
the lots, right? Creating 2 lots. So the issue with MTO or another point you brought up, extending the date, those are separate items from this meeting here, isn't it?
So they are all connected because
Yeah.
our correspondent. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I realize they're connected, but for the purpose of this meeting, it's to agree or not agree on the establishment of 2 lots, no?
Yes.
And the MTO, that's separate, and the possibility of extending the date, that's separate, right?
Yeah, they're all connected in a way because especially in our official plan, it states that all new lots must have direct access onto a municipal or provincial highway. So in this case, if MTO, declines their request to grant them access onto a provincial highway, then that means that the creation of this lot does not conform to the municipal official plan.
Yeah, I mean, he's got permission till what?
October next year,
Yeah, 2026 or something, isn't he?
2026.
Yeah.
For everything.
The conditions under our permit for temporary access are limited to forestry clearing and land development. We're not permitted to construct or operate out of that property. So in order for us to carry on with our warehouse and use it commercially to support our business, we would have to re-permit the entrance that we have as a permitted entrance, which brings up the next issue where the permits are not transferable with the sale of land. So part of our intention of having it severed would be to transfer it to our electrical company, which would be building and operating the warehouse. That company would intend to permit the entrance permanently. Since they can't be transferred, the new owner would have to hold the permit for it. But if the new owner, there's just a sequence of events, I guess, that seem to be a little bit obscure as to how it needs to happen.
So, in the scenario that you just described, so let's say if, the committee decides to approve this consent application today, and then they create the lot and they transfer it to the electrical company, in that case, they would require a new entrance permit. And then as MTO outlined in their letter, they said they are not going to issue a new entrance permit. So that would leave us with a lot without a direct access onto a highway. And it wouldn't serve, their intended purpose, which is this, that's a light industrial warehouse site. Because they won't get access onto a highway. So, yeah.
So what are you saying? There's no point in approving the,
You can't.
Yeah, what we are recommending is that the committee defers making a decision today until the applicant get in touch with MTO and then they reach a satisfiable solution that everyone is happy with.
And also like, if, for Mr. Brakeman to find out about extending
Hmm?
to build on that property. So it relieves some of his stress that he knows, okay, well, I'm into my second year now. Maybe I can get an extra year because of all these other unforeseen circumstances that have come up trying to deal with the MTO. It's only fair to Mr. Bauer that the municipality would do that. Again, that would be brought to council and that'd be voted on, but we did vote to sell the property to Mr. Bauer. So I don't see an issue.
That will be conveyed to the manager of development services.
All we can do tonight. Was there not a MTO traffic study done by the municipality for the first entrance?
It was,
Yeah.
it's based on the original Bigwood Estates plan.
Okay. And that's not transferable down the road?
No,
No, it's just for that one
your
entrance.
answer is no, yes. The data is there, but anytime, it's my understanding that anytime there's any change to anything in the development plan, a new study has to be provided to the MTO.
So your stance is you're willing to work with everyone to try to come to some solution?
I'm not sure what option I have. We're in dire need of constructing this warehouse to carry on. And our hands are kind of tied. We would like to work with the MTO. We would like a commitment to timelines that are a little more. I don't know how to respond to that. We just need some dialogue that happens a little bit quicker so we can find a solution for this. I'm more than willing to meet with all stakeholders involved and come up with more of a long-term plan to bridge the gap until there's a proper subdivision plan from ourselves and our adjacent development team to the south of us.
The municipality be willing to work with Mr. Bauer to facilitate with the MTO to try to get to some solution?
Yes, so we've already been in a meeting with Mr. Bauer as well as MTO before, where we are all trying to find a solution to this situation.
I don't understand why you can't have the municipality work with you to put in an interior road. Then you don't even have to deal with MTO at all. You just come in and if the municipality were to ensure that there was a service road put in to access his property, you would need a traffic study. You would need an entrance permit. You can tell MTO, see ya.
Ultimately, that is the goal, is to have a collector road, and I see that serving the greater area. Like again, the development team to the south of us. But in the short term, we need to have a solution for a warehouse. That's the immediate goal. That was the purpose of us purchasing this property from the municipality. That was the first goal, and the second goal was to carry on with the subdivision development. And
Another question, if it's not related to the entrance, can I ask that?
Is it related to this consent?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
I'm just wondering why if the easement that's being put in, the hydro easement, is being put in to service the proposed subdivision in the future. So you're giving up an easement, and I'm wondering why that isn't included in your, what is it, parkland in lieu of? Instead of you having to pay $750 or whatever it is for the, why, with you having this easement in and you're promoting this development, why isn't that included in that? I don't see why, to me, it's like he's getting double charged. First of all, you gotta put it, you gotta allow us to have an easement and you gotta give us land for, parks in lieu of. Why can't you?
Well, that would be something the committee could decide.
Yeah, so most of the items that are included in our notice of decisions are always a recommendation to the committee. And the committee is, free.
I didn't know how to bring it up.
Yeah.
I'm stuck on it.
But if we're deferring it,
But then parkland dedication is mandated quite under the planning act, so usually that's why we include it as a standard.
Yeah, and all I'm just saying is he's basically forfeiting land by providing an easement.
Mhm.
He's promoting development. He's helping municipality out and development of the subdivision. I think the developer should be awarded somehow for doing that. I don't think that we should, he's putting it in and then we go, okay, parkland in lieu of whatever the heck you call it. What do you call it?
Cash in lieu of parkland.
Cash in lieu of, now we're gonna charge him that. Well, why can't we use this as part of that? Because it's gonna be the municipality that's gonna require that easement to put in their
I think
division.
when it does come back to us, that we can make that decision as a committee.
Yeah.
I just want to make a comment regarding the parkland. Okay, I mean, in lieu of a reward, I mean, that's fine, but there should be something consistent there.
So
Because I mean, I severed a piece of property and it was developed and someone got a home, but I still had to pay, the green fee or whatever the heck you call it. So, I mean, maybe that should be looked at and something developed as so it's consistent when you're dealing with people.
Well, the consistency was that they put the $750 in there.
Yeah.
And as a committee, we can discuss that. Any of the recommendations that were given by staff, we, as a committee, we can make those decisions too.
Does this committee have that authority for the 750? Or we're just looking at property easements and line, that sort of thing? I didn't know we had that authority.
you can always make adjustments to the amount, but then we always put the recommendation in there, standardized for any consent application to create new lot. We always put 750 there. But then the committee can yeah, and we can also review that in-house to see if we need to maybe make some adjustment to our standardized conditions.
It just, the municipality is always looking at ways to raise a couple extra dollars.
Yes.
No kidding.
I'm just saying there's some value in that easement.
Yeah,
And he's permitting the easement,
yes.
but the developer isn't getting rewarded for playing along.
And we can discuss that when it goes. And hopefully it goes fast for you.
Okay,
It's coming.
so one last thing, I will open the floor for questions or comments to anybody else that out on the floor that wants to speak to it. Nobody? Okay. So I'll now place the motion on the table that there's two options, defer or approve. So we've decided to defer. We're gonna defer. Okay. We're gonna defer that consent application C 07-2025. 1000209-267 Ontario Inc. Being an application to create one new lot and to permit a utility easement over the proposed severed lot be deferred until a subsequent committee of adjustment public hearing to allow municipal staff to review the pending comments from the Ministry of Transportation and to review other matters regarding access to the proposed severed lot. Sorry. Severed lots, yes. Okay, can I get a mover? Councillor Lego and the seconder. Mario, okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Okay, so I should read that next last.
Okay, there's a section for leave to finish.
Okay, if deferred, okay. If deferred, the minor variance application, oh,
Staff was verse. That's on page 9.
staff will address the concerns that cause the committee to defer the application and will bring a new report before the committee at a later date.
Quick comment?
Yes.
Once everything's figured out, I'm willing at any time to come back and call a meeting as soon as possible, so
Okay.
the applicant can move on once things are figured out.
So, okay. How do I fill this out? Because it's deferred. The way this is set up, if it's moving forward.
Sean, you don't have to stay. You can leave.
Up to,
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
for,
yeah.
yeah, everyone voted, so.
It's carried?
Department? Get in touch with the department and try to figure out.
So where's it?
Do you tackle the MTO and try to?
I mean, like everyone to have a seat.
I'll put down deferred somewhere.
The development team to the south of us has expressed an interest in sitting down as well to try and work. So
Okay, good.
hopefully this goes a little bit quicker.
Yes.
Hey,
Okay.
thank you all. Have a good evening.
Take care.
Okay.
Okay, and now proceed to a minor variance application M02-2025 received from Andrew Brunton for the subject lands locally known as 82nd Avenue North. The purpose of the minor variance application is to seek relief from the rear yard setback for an accessory building on a residential lot and permit a private detached garage exceeding the maximum gross floor area and lot coverage for a private detached garage on a residential lot in the zoning bylaw. Secretary Treasurer, could you please present the application to the committee?
An application for a minor variance has been submitted by Andrew Brunning for the subject property locally known as 82 Second Avenue North. The subject property has a lot area of approximately 900 square meters and lot frontage of 17 meters on Second Avenue North. The owner is taking a minor variance from the following section of the zoning bylaw to facilitate the development of a private detached garage on the subject property. Section 4.2.3 III, a reduced setback of 0.6 meters for private detached garage. Whereas the owner is proposing a reduced setback of 0.6 meters for a private detached garage, whereas a minimum setback of 1.5 meters is required from the rear lot line, for a private detached garage. Section 4.2.4. The owner is proposing a private detached garage with a size of 100 meters and a lot coverage of 10%. Whereas the maximum size of a private detached garage is 90 square meters and a maximum lot coverage of 10% is required. All planning decisions must be consistent with the provincial planning statement, conform to the official plan, and consistent with the general intent of the zoning bylaw. The subject property is located in the urban Sioux settlement area, which is a settlement area in the context of the provincial planning statement. The provincial planning statement directs that settlement areas shall be the focus of growth and development. The provincial planning statement also encourages land use patterns that efficiently use land and resources and optimize existing public service facilities. The existing residential use on the subject property is permitted. In reviewing the minor variance application, the Committee of Adjustment needs to be satisfied that the proposal is in keeping with the four tests of a minor variance as set out in section 45, subsection 1 of the Planning Act. 1. Is the variance in keeping with the intent of the official plan? The subject property is located in urban Sioux settlement area and is designated residential in the official plan. It is the intent of the official plan to focus growth and development within the urban Sioux settlement area. The official plan directs that the municipality shall promote sustainable development by directing compact development to urban Sioux settlement area where municipal services exist. The residential designation permits a range of housing types, including single detached dwelling. The official plan permits other buildings and structures considered accessory to a principal permitted use. The proposed private detached garage is considered accessory to the existing single detached dwelling on the subject property and is located within the urban Sioux settlement area. 2. Is the variance in keeping with the general intent of the zoning body? The subject property is located in the residential type 1 zone and is currently developed with a single detached dwelling. The zoning bylaw permits accessory buildings where a principal permitted use or building exists. The following is a summary of the proposed variances. Section 4.2.3 III. A reduced setback of 0.6 meters for a private detached garage is proposed, whereas the zoning bylaw requires a minimum setback of 1.5 meters from a rear lot line for a private detached garage. The intent of the minimum setback in the zoning bylaw for accessory buildings is to ensure there is separation between buildings and lot lines. In this case, the proposed private detached garage meet the required setbacks, with the exception of the rear lot line setback. The rear lot on the subject property is fenced, and the proposed setback of 0.6 meters is a result of the shape of the rear yard. There is a separation between the proposed building and the lot lines to provide access from the subject property. Section 4.2.4. A private detached garage with a size of 100 square meters is proposed, whereas the maximum size of a private detached garage is 90 square meters. And a private detached garage that has a lot coverage of 11% is proposed, whereas the maximum lot coverage for accessory buildings is 10%. The intent of the maximum size of a private detached garage and maximum lot coverage for an accessory building is to maintain the size and the scale of accessory buildings in relation to the principal building on a subject property. The proposed size of the private detached garage is smaller than the detached dwelling and does not result in the overdevelopment of the subject plot. The proposed variances are in keeping with the zoning bylaw. 3. Would the variance provide for a desirable development of the land? The subject property is designated as residential in the official plan and located in the residential type 1 zone in the zoning bylaw. A private detached garage is a permitted accessory use in the residential designation and residential type 1 zone where a permitted principal use exists. The subject property contains an existing single detached dwelling. The proposed garage will be accessory to the detached dwelling. Private detached garages are common buildings that are located in the rear yard of a residential property, and the location is not anticipated to adversely impact the surrounding properties and uses. The proposed development is desirable. 4. Is the variance minor? Based on the review of the 3 other tests of a minor variance, the variance is minor on the basis that the proposal does not result in the overdevelopment of the subject property and that there are no anticipated land use compatibility issues associated with the location and size of the proposed private detached.
Were there any comments received for this application?
There were none.
Do any of the committee members have site inspection reports they wish to present? Okay. Is there a presentation from the applicant or their agent? No? Okay.
Questions?
Okay, yep. Are there any members of the public in attendance who wish to speak on the application? Okay, I'll now open the table up for discussion of the application by my committee members. Any comments? Yes.
I really don't have any issue with any of these, with the 0.6 from the setback or to reduce it. It's just because of the irregularity of the property itself.
Yeah.
The other corner is 2.7 meters away, so, and going to 100 square meters from 90 and 11% from 10%. I don't have an issue with any of this.
That was the only concern I had is if we were setting precedents for someone in the future that comes to us and says, well, we were asking for a 0.61. What's the difference between, you're refusing me, but you're allowing this consent application to move forward? I think there should be a reason that we can, well, we've allowed this because there's no road allowance in the back and it fits. I don't want to just to say because it aligns better with the lot. Because you can move that whole garage towards Second Avenue, or you can shift it to the east. I'm just saying, I think we should have a solid reason for that, so that somebody doesn't come back and bite us in the future. I'm in favor of the 0.61. I have no issue with that at all. It's just a matter of what future people.
You wanted to be able to defend it, kind of thing.
Right, in the event that that ever happened.
Well,
There's no road allowance in the back, so you're not encumbering onto a street or a back lane. To me, that's a reason.
Someone else's property.
Right.
so anytime we receive these kinds of applications, we always review them based on, their context. So the surrounding land uses, the adjacent properties and all that. So we can't, I can't say for a fact that we can have a standardized way of assessing these applications, but then that's why we have these 4 tests that we always go through. But then again, we review the application based on the specific.
I got no issue. I really don't. It's about getting caught in the future.
Well, I think we make decisions,
And that's why we have the
Yeah.
committee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
and if something else comes up, we make a decision for that as well.
Okay.
That's how I was.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, I'll open the floor for any questions or comments. Okay. I'll now place the motion on the table that the proposed variance M02-2025 is minor in nature, are in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the municipality's official plan and zoning bylaw, and are desirable for the appropriate development and use of the land. Based on review of the 4 tests of a minor variance, it is our recommendation that the proposed variance is minor in nature, is in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the municipality's official plan and zoning bylaw, and is desirable for the appropriate development and use of the land. Based on our review of the minor variance application, it would appear that the 4 tests of a minor variance have been met. It is recommended that a minor variance be approved to permit a reduced setback of 0.6 meters from the rear lot line for a private detached garage. A private detached garage with a maximum size of 100 square meters and a private detached garage and total accessory buildings with a maximum lot coverage of 11%. Can I get a mover?
I move.
Mario, and a seconder, Roger. All in favor? Okay, carried. Okay, so the application is approved. If approved, take notice that an appeal, I have to read that one. Yep. Take notice that an appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal in respect to all or part of this consent may be made by filing a notice of appeal with the Secretary Treasurer of the Committee of Adjustment, either via the Ontario Land Tribunal e-file service. First-time users will need to register for a My Ontario account at www.olt.gov.on.ca/e service. Wow.
Not enough numbers.
Nope. I hope I don't have to read that again. By selecting Sioux Municipality of Clerk and Secretary Treasurer as the approval authority. Alternatively, you may submit an appeal to the Secretary Treasurer in person or by registered mail courier addressed to the Secretary Treasurer, Municipality of Sioux, attention Bright O'Hare, P.O. Box 158, 25th 5th Avenue, Sioux, Ontario, P8T 184, no later than 4:30 p.m. on the 11th of September 2025. The filing of appeal after 4:30 in person or electronically will be deemed to have been received the next business day. The appeal fee of $400 can be paid online through e-file or by certified check or money order to the Minister of Finance, Province of Ontario. If you wish to appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal, OLT, or request a fee reduction for an appeal, forms are available from the OLT website. I'm not reading that again. If the e-file portal is down, you can submit your appeal to planning@siouxlookout.ca. Only the applicant, the minister, or a specified person or public body that has an interest in the matter may appeal decisions in respect of applications for minor variances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. A notice of appeal may not be filed by an unincorporated association or group. However, a notice of appeal may be filed in the name of an individual who is a member of the association or group on its behalf. Okay, there you go. So if you would like to go,
Just, what would be Mr. Brunton's next steps?
Yes, that's what, so he has the approval now and he wants a building permit. So will that be in the office on Monday morning so he can apply for his building permit?
Yes, that's correct. And I'll send a notice of decision this evening.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to work late, it's Friday night. Monday morning is fine.
about Thanks for being so different.
the next application we have before us is a request to amend conditions of conditional consent approval for application C01-2024 received from Stan Nisley for the subject lands known as 112 Forest Drive to create 2 severed lots and 1 retained lot for a total of 3 lots. Secretary Treasurer, could you please present the application to the committee?
In January 2024, an application was submitted by Mr. Stan Nisley on behalf of 543348 Ontario Inc. to create 1 separate lot and 1 retained lot for a total of to create 2 separate lots and 1 retained lot for a total of 3 lots at 112 Forest Drive. The subject lands have a lot area of 4,000 square meters and lot frontage of 62 meters on Forest Drive. The application was considered and provisionally approved by the Committee of Adjustment at the February 6, 2024 public hearing. The provisional approval included conditions that must be fulfilled before a final consent is given. That is a certificate of consent. The applicant and their lawyer are requesting removal of condition number 2 included on the provisional approval. Condition number 2 states that the transfer deed form noted shall not identify the transferor and transferee as the same person. The owner intends to transfer the newly created lots to themselves. This is in contravention of condition number 2 included in the provisional approval, since the transferor and transferee can't be the same person. Condition number 2 was included on the provisional consent approval to prevent lots from inadvertently merging under the Planning Act. However, with recent updates to the Planning Act, abutting lots under the same ownership do not merge if the lots were created through a consent process. It must be noted that condition number 3 is no longer included on provisional consent approvals in the municipality. Section 53, subsection 23 of the Planning Act authorizes the committee to change the conditions of a provisional consent at any time before a final consent is given.
Do any of the committee members have site inspection reports they wish to present? Okay, is there a presentation from the applicant or their agent? Okay, I'll now open the table up for discussion of the application by my committee members. No conversation? Okay, I'll open the floor to questions or comments. Okay. Okay, I will now place the motion on the table that the notice of decision dated February 6, 2024, issued for consent application C01-2024, 543348 Ontario Inc., being an application to create 2 severed lots and 1 retained lot for a total of 3 lots at 1124 Forest Drive be amended by deleting condition number 2. The conditions included in the notice of decision shall now read that the following documents must be provided for the transaction: the original executed transfer deed form, a duplicate original, and 1 photocopy for our reference. A schedule to the transfer deed form under the set up the entire full description of the parcel in question, and a reference plan of survey that bears the land titles office registration number and signature as evidence of its deposit in, illustrating the parcel to which the consent approval relates. And that the applicant installs water and sewer services or enter into an agreement with the municipality to require the installation of these services for the 3 lots. That the applicant demonstrate compliance to the zoning bylaw. That the applicant obtains entrance permits for each lot in accordance with the municipality's entrance policy. That the applicant pays cash in lieu of parkland dedication if applicable. Can I get a mover? Corey Lego. And a seconder. Roger, thank you. And all in favor? Okay. So if approved, take notice that an appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Again. Take notice that an appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal in respect to all or part of this consent may be made by filing a notice of appeal with the Secretary Treasurer of the Committee of Adjustment, either via the Ontario Land Tribunal e-file service. First-time users will need to register for a My Ontario account at olt.gov.on.ca/e-file service by selecting Sioux Municipality of Clerk and Secretary Treasurer as the approval authority. Alternatively, you may submit an appeal to the Secretary Treasurer in person or by registered mail, courier, addressed to the Secretary Treasurer, Municipality of Sioux, attention Bright Pair, P.O. Box 158, 25 Fifth Avenue, Sioux, Ontario, PAT 184, no later than 4:30 PM on the 11th of September 2025. The filing of an appeal after 4:30 PM in person or electronically will be deemed to have been received the next business day. The appeal fee of $400 can be paid online through e-file or by certified check or money order to the Minister of Finance, Province of Ontario. If you wish to appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal, OLT, or request a fee reduction for an appeal, forms are available from the OLT website. And if the e-file portal is down, you can submit your appeal to planning@sioux.gov. Only the applicant, the minister, or a specified person or public body may appeal this decision on the application to the Ontario Land Tribunal, OLT, by filing with the Secretary Treasurer of the Committee of Adjustment. Okay. That's true. The last application we have before us is a validation of title application. An application for validation of title has been submitted by Mike McCarl on behalf of Kevin and Siobhan Elliott for the subject property locally known as 170 Abram Lake Road and legally described as PT LT1 Range 5 Reserve Drayton Parts 5 and 11 23R 8433. A validation of title application is submitted under Section 57 of the Planning Act. A certificate of validation, if used, to make a valid document conveyance that previously contravened the Planning Act. Secretary Treasurer, could you please present the application to the committee?
An application for validation of title has been submitted by Michael Makar on behalf of Kevin and Siobhan Elliott for the subject lands locally known as 170 Abram Lake Road and legally described as PT Part Lot 1, Range 5, Reserve Drayton Parts 5 and 11, 23R 8433 Sioux Lookout. The subject lands were created through a consent application in 1990. The consent application from 1990 created 2 lots locally known as 170 and 188 Abram Lake Road. The legal descriptions of the subject lands as a result of the consent application in 1990 were Part Lot 1, Range 5, Reserved Rating Parts 5, 11, and 12, 23 R 8433 Sioux, locally known as 170 Abraham Lake Road. And then Part Lot 1, Range 5, Reserved Rating Parts 6, 13, and 14, 23 R 8433 Sioux, locally known as 188 Abraham Lake Road. The subject lands were subsequently transferred from Hermina Hoy to Larry and Edna Hoy in 1992. In 2011, the subject lands, which was Part 5 and Part 11 only, which made up 170 Abraham Lake Road, were transferred to Carr and Mary Duell. After Part 12 of the subject lands were transferred to the municipality to legally form Part Abraham Lake Road for road widening purposes. The applicant has indicated that the transfer of Part 12 from the subject lands to the municipality before the transfer of Parts 5 and 11 to the Duels created an inadvertent contravention under Section 50 of the Planning Act because the subject lands were no longer identical to the lands for which a consent approval was issued in 1990. It is noted that Part 14 of Abraham Lake Road was also transferred to the municipality for the widening of Abraham Lake Road. 170 Abraham Lake Road was also then sold to the Elliots in 2015. As a result of the inadvertent contravention and both lots being under the same ownership at the time of the contravention, as a result of the inadvertent contravention and both lots being under the same ownership at the time of the contravention, 170 Abraham Lake Road and 188 Abraham Lake Road have merged. A validation of title application is submitted under Section 57 of the Planning Act. A certificate of validation is used to make valid a document or conveyance that previously contravened the Planning Act. For this application, the applicant is seeking a certificate of validation so that the conveyance of the subject lands in 2011 was not prevented by a contravention of Section 50 of the Planning Act. The subject lands are located in the Drayton area and designated as rural residential in the official plan and located in the rural residential zone in the zoning bylaw. All validation of title applications must be consistent with the provincial planning statement, official plan, and zoning bylaw in accordance with Section 57, subsection 6 of the Planning Act. 170 and 188 Abraham Lake Road are developed with single detached dwellings. The properties and established uses are consistent with the provincial planning statement, conforms to the official plan, and are consistent with the general intent of the zoning bylaw.
Do any of the committee members have site inspection reports they wish to present? Okay. Is there a presentation from the applicant or their agent?
Thank you. I don't so much have a presentation as much as I'd like to thank you for hearing this on this urgent basis. This is an urgent request for good reason. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. I have a greater history of how this all took place, but the story itself is rather simple, actually. So
We're here to get this done.
Yeah.
Wrong or right?
thing to do.
I'll now open the floor to questions or comments. Committee members, anybody have questions for Mike?
Straightforward.
Okay. All right, I'll now place the motion on the table that the proposal to recognize the existing lots as separate lots of record is appropriate in this instance, as the lots were created through consent and are in general conformity with the official plan and zoning bylaw. Planning staff have no objections to approve the proposed validation of title application, being an application for validation of title under Section 57 of the Planning Act, subject to the following. The following applicable documents must be provided for the transaction. The original executed transfer deed form, a duplicate original, and one photocopy for our records. A schedule to the transfer deed form on which is set out the entire legal description of the parcel in question, and a reference plan of survey which bears the land titles office registration number and signature as evidence of its deposit therein, illustrating the parcel to which the consent approval relates. Can I get a mover? Mario? And a seconder. Roger. All in favor? Okay, it's carried. The decision of the committee on the validation of title application is final and cannot be appealed. That's it. Well, that's it, Mike.
Thank you very much.
Next step for
So I will sign the certificate of validation of title and have it to you after the meeting.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, do you need me to step out for? No? Okay. Great.
You have to stay.
Mind it all.
Right to the bitter end.
You're a hostage.
Any Friday night I've had in a while.
Is there any old business to attend to?
That's not.
Okay. Is there any new business the committee should be aware of?
The only thing I can say is that the committee will have to reconvene sooner to attend to the powers and consent application.
Okay. There is a motion on the table to adjourn today's meeting. Can I get a mover? Councilor Lego and a seconder. Roger? We have a motion on the floor that the Committee of Adjustment Consent Granting Authority meeting of August 22nd, 2025 be adjourned at 6:07 PM. All in favor? And it's carried.
that, eh?